This episode, we're changing it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mystery episode.
Mystery episode.
Right? Okay, for this last season, we have had this mysterious problem in our starboard tank that something's getting up against the fuel pickup. It's spiking the vacuum gauges on the entire fuel system, which then starves out the fuel on the starboard engine, throws off a bunch of alarms, and then kills the engine.
Usually when I'm at the helm.
And usually in the middle of the Straits of Juan de Fuca,
Right.
8 footers to the beam. I mean, this is no fun. And it's happened...
Four times?
Yeah, 4 times. And the problem is, there's only one way to really solve this. We gotta cut a hole in our tanks, get inside of it, and fingers crossed, actually find what it is. The only people who do this kind of work is a place called Petro Clean. And this is not generally what they have to do. Generally, they are fixing holes in tanks, and they've got diesel leaking out of them, or
contaminated fuel.
That's right. That has a bunch of gunk in it, and they have to go into the tank and clean it all out. That's not our problem. Unfortunately, this is the only solution. And you might go, well, why did this start all of a sudden? Like, what happened? Good question, but I will tell you. The one time that we seem to have all of a sudden started this is when we had stabilization on the boat, because the boat doesn't rock and roll around anymore.
Yep.
And so whatever the heck is floating around in this tank and getting up against the fuel pickup, well, when it used to roll around like a washing machine when we were out on the water, I don't think it was ever able to pick up onto the fuel pickup.
Yeah. And now? So, Petro Clean hopefully can come and find the problem and figure it out.
Yeah. But if you want to see something scary, like we gotta rip everything out of our engine room, we gotta cut holes in the thing. I won't get ahead of myself. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go talk to the Petro Clean guys.
Let's find out what's going on.
In 2019, we sold everything to realize our dream of living, working, and cruising full-time on our boat. I'm John, this is Carlin, and this is our home, the Elli-Yacht. Petro Clean comes to the rescue. This is Kevin and Devin, and we'll walk you through what took place, because it's amazing what got packed into 4 hours. I think you'll find it shocking as well. So maybe you guys could walk us through.
Me first?
Sure.
Excellent.
All right, Devin.
Typical for any tank project, get the fluid out. After that, we can determine the baffle structure, find out where we want to put our access to enter the interior, make your access. Once we're in there, we can check out the baffle structuring, cut access through those to be able to clean and service the whole tank and therefore inspect it. Once it's clean, we can find any damage issued areas, prep those, apply our product, make sure we're happy, put it back together and filter the fuel back in. Short synopsis, does that work?
Yeah.
Excellent.
However, from being a layman and watching this go down, there's a lot more to this. So I'm sure everyone, first of all, is like, well, you know, with the problem you had, why didn't you just put a hose down there and try to suck it up? It was obviously getting sucked up into your fuel pickup. These tanks have baffles galore in them, right?
Yep. Right.
And this little needle in a haystack was hanging out in, where was that? It was in the back corner?
Yep, it was in the back inboard compartment.
Okay.
These tanks have 6 chambers inside of them. Typically, tanks are split up into smaller compartments that are no longer than 30 inches. And those baffles are put in there to stiffen the tank walls, because these tanks are like big aluminum balloons that are square, and we want them to stay square. But they're only made of 1/8 inch aluminum, and so in order for them to stay square, we have to put walls inside of them to hold the walls vertical. And so what we do is we go in, we remove the middle of those walls so we can reach throughout all 6 of those compartments, clean, inspect, and repair, as Devin was saying, and then button it all back up and come back out of the tank. So what you were experiencing was a little piece of plastic in your back inboard compartment of your starboard tank that was sucking up against a standpipe, and then your engine would shut down, it would fall off, and everything ran great.
And I forgot about your gremlin, John.
Maddening,
Yeah.
right? But it was one of those things that, you know, basically we're outboard forward or middle of the tank where the fill is. There's no way we could have got back to that corner. So really this was the only option. And I was dreading this option because we had just put in all the stabilizers, all the high voltage control pieces. They were all up against all of these tanks. And thank goodness we had Dan from Emerald Harbor Marine showed up. Within an hour, he had those things off.
Save the day, Dan.
Yeah. And Devin and Kevin were able to jump in and start doing this. Now, people super worry about, gosh, you know, diesel pulling it out of a boat. Where's that going to go? How do we make sure that we keep the environment safe, especially with the water? It's a delicate environment, right? And diesel doesn't go well with that. And you guys, your system is unbelievable to make sure. I mean, you have so much redundancy to make sure that that not even a drip is lost. How do you, I mean, kind of walk me through that.
I think that is my biggest concern, Don, especially working over the water.
Yeah.
That is the most stressful thing to any of these projects, is moving the fuel. If we didn't have to deal with the fuel, most people would try to tackle a lot of these things themselves.
Yeah.
It's that quantity and the danger of not only, you know, fire hazard, of course, but the spill is, I mean, you just forget about it when there's a spill. It gets ugly quick.
Yeah.
You know, it's years of practice.
Yeah.
It's stressing over it. It's the understanding and education of how to deal with that sort of, you know.
But you guys have
material.
protective bladders under every one of your pieces of equipment. Every one of your hoses, I noticed, all have double locks, O-ringed. There's just no, and quite frankly, through this whole process, I didn't see any fuel get dropped. I wish actually I could fill the boat as clean as that's what you guys did.
Appreciate
because
that.
there always seems invariably there's a drip that, that hits the deck
Yeah.
or something. It's always a nightmare to clean up.
Yeah, the thing that kind of frustrates me when you see with most people who try to clean tanks, they do the flushing technique. They're actually pressurizing the line to return to the boat to stir it up. Now you've got really high pressured lines running over water that if there's an issue, I mean, it just makes a massive mess. So the way we do it, we can keep that pressure low. We're just removing it, just holding on to it for a bit during the service. And we don't have to risk that sort of, you know, issue. It just makes me super nervous doing that.
But that's a really good point, because I think a lot of people, look, this is an overwhelming situation. It feels like, oh my gosh, someone's going to cut holes in the tanks, and they have to cut out baffles, and they're going to suck all this garbage out. There's got to be a better, easier way. Maybe I can put chemicals in the tank to eat up whatever my problem is. That can cause issues with injectors and clogging filters and all kinds of. And at the end of the day, I did that. I tried that. I went the cheap way, and it cleaned up a lot of the bugs. But fundamentally, everything was still there. My issue was still there, obviously. So I think it was a good analogy, right? If you were to try to clean a tank through the fill, it would be a lot like trying to vacuum a house through the keyhole in the front door. It's almost impossible. There's just too much surface area, right?
You might get a little dirt, of course. You're going to wave this thing around the doorknob or what have you.
Yeah, there'll be a really clean thing right inside the door. That's it.
But all the other rooms, i.e. baffles, you're not getting in there.
Right,
And then you can't inspect the tank. We would have never found the pitting issues, the corrosion,
if
we didn't clean the tank thoroughly and physically get my eyes that close to the bottom of the tank. So.
And especially with aluminum tanks, we find very frequently that when they do fail, it's not because of there's something on the outside of the tank. It's actually from the muck and material that's inside the tank that is corroded through the floor that you never could have seen unless you got in there and cleaned the tank. So many tanks, even if you are leaking, are salvageable because they're not, the corroded portion of the tank is relatively small. We just need to get in there, clean it, find it, and plug it.
Which brings us to the point. So this was a very good preventative investment with this particular set of tanks. The port tank looked clean as a whistle, didn't have any pitting or corrosion. That was not the case in the starboard tank. It did have gunk in it. It had started, pitting, and we were what we're showing right now is it's about a 50% pit hole, which another 50% is a 14-year-old boat. Give it another 7 to 10 years, we would have a hole. We would have diesel leaking out of a tank, and we'd be doing this in a panic situation instead
Probably
of
on vacation.
Right. Desolation Sound, somewhere cool like that.
Can't be easy.
Yeah. It's going to be a vacation ender, and which kind of brings me to the last piece on this. is, so what I'm going to call is like grown-up boats. Grown-up boats have access panels in their fuel tanks. When we were looking for the Elli-Yacht, we did look at a lot of different boats that did have access panels. Quite frankly, not as nice as the new shiny ones that we have, but recreational boats, unfortunately, most of them, they're kind of disposable boats. I hate to say that, but there's just no forethought into how to maintain or solve these types of problems. And it's not an if, it's a when this is going to take place.
Yep.
You have these proprietary backing plates and access plates. So how did you come up with that? I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Well, classic for me, like, they've been building boats ever since the diesel engine was invented, like big ships.
Right.
They'd construct the tank from the inside out, so they needed a way to get out of the tank when they manufactured it. So this is nothing new. You just look at something else going, why wouldn't I have that on that tank? What's the difference between commercial and pleasure?
Right.
Zero. We just kind of adjusted it to our liking.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, once it's installed, this is here for life. And as a matter of fact, maybe it's your kids or grandkids. If this tank does go bad, you can put this into another tank.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And these are stainless?
Stainless hardware with aluminum faceplate and backing ring.
Okay.
The through bolts are locked into the backing ring, and then we've got stainless hardware on the exterior, sandwiching this backing ring, rubber, tank wall, rubber, faceplate sandwich.
Right. So everything's isolated, all the dissimilar metals, and so we don't have any issues with corrosion. So the size of these, dash cunning, so they're actually, they're custom fitted for
For the bigger guy, I actually went to the laser cutter and stood there and tried some sizes on until we made it work. I can't get any bigger, let's just say.
It fits just right on Navigator tanks.
Yeah, right.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, and if it didn't come out in the subtlety, these guys literally get into the tanks. They're full on. They're not like halfway. They're not scrubbing with the longest arms they can probably. They are inside these tanks, rooting around, cleaning them up to wrap everything up. The way you control all the debris and everything, the reality is you have to cut open these tanks, you have to drill. There is aluminum everywhere. You know, to watch it, it's kind of like making sausage. Right?
Gotta crack an egg and make an omelet.
Yeah, right. It tastes good, you know, when it's done, but it's kind of gross to watch. But literally, Dan came back in to put, you know, the controllers back on and everything for the stabilizers, and he couldn't find even a shaving of aluminum down in the engine room. Yeah, not a drop of fuel. It's quite frankly like it never happened. And you look at it, unfortunately, we got a lot of shit down here. We have an ice maker, we have storage, we have the water maker, we have, you know, all the filters for the fuel, the controller, like I said, for the stabilizers. So this probably wasn't an easy type of a job, but you guys just made it look easy, right?
Well, having Dan assist in removing all this stuff and getting the tanks exposed, that's often the biggest challenge for us is, are the tanks wrapped in soundproofing? Do they have battery boxes outside of them? Do they have hydraulic stabilizing systems that are mounted to the face of them? Gotcha. What's in our way to get to each of these compartments and do a good job at what we're trying to do?
Yeah. And like I said, you're like Boy Scouts, you know, you leave the place better than when you came, and that's, yeah, that's awesome.
We're Petro Clean, not Petro Dirty.
That's right. And I will say, I did, you know, some research on, you know, other providers and such. A lot of them, they just put face plates and metal screws into the tanks instead of something, you know, the high-end backing plate and front plate. Which is just, in my estimation, is just prone to failure. Whereas this, we don't have that. And everybody I talked to, you know, whether it be the folks from Hampton Yacht Service, you know, any of the providers in the Pacific Northwest, they said you guys are over the top, you know, with the professionalism and the work you do. So
you talked to the guys we wanted you to talk to. So
yeah, right. Yeah. But thank you.
Awesome. Thank
very
you
much.
John, we like you. We just don't want to hang out again.
Let's keep it that way. Maybe
do it right this time.
Yeah, maybe beers.
You can wave to us on the other side of the harbor. You know, hey guys.
Right, totally.
Thank you guys for the work.
We really appreciate
the flexibility.
And thank you. This was scared the shit out of me. Honestly, this was like the biggest high stress piece of this entire refit and taking care of some of these things on the boat, and it ended up being, quite frankly, the easiest. And
awesome. Thank you for that.
It's not that it was easy, you just made it easy on us.
Appreciate that.
Anytime we can help.
Thank you guys.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
All right.